Yeah. It is time. You will not survive. Let's fucking do it.
What's up, everybody? This is the PlayStation Lifestyle Underground Podcast. We are an unofficial podcast of PlayStationLifestyle.net. I am Hugo Stiglitz. You can find me on PSN as Hugo Stiglitz _420 and Xbox Live as THNK4URSELF. And we're doing a two-man show today. You want to say what's up, Brian?
Yep, my name is Brian Mashallah. You can find me in the forums and comments as Brian Mashallah, and on PlayStation Network and Nintendo Network as Cloudstripe768.
Awesome. So lately I've been playing a bunch of different stuff. The past week I was playing a ton of Forza Horizon 3 and also The Evil Within. But Tuesday night, well, actually Monday night, because at midnight preload, I played What Remains of Edith Finch, which was really awesome game. Great story, and the way the story is told is really, really cool. Also, it's like this is a ton of variety. It's much better paced than a lot of games of that type, and I think it's much better than The Unfinished Swan. And it's like, I don't like to call it a walking simulator, but there's definitely going to be comparisons made, just because, you know, when you're not doing each one of the short stories, it does kind of play like a walking simulator. But the parts in between are not they're not like each one of them has different variety to it. Like there's some points where you're flying, swimming, some even, I guess you could call it for hack and slash, well, first person hack and slash, like combat in it a little bit. There's a bunch. It's really, really cool, and I'm glad that it's getting good reviews on Metacritic. It's at like 89, so very, very cool. It is on the short side, but it's just so well paced and memorable, and yeah, I really, really liked it. And I feel like it actually kind of bridges a gap between walking simulators and just the normal linear games, just because it's just so much. There's just much less downtime, I would say. Like there's much less actual walking, well, you know, just exploring walking. Like there's not much exploration in it. It's mostly just like when you are walking to get to the next part, next short story about each member of the family, there's dialogue going on. So it's very hard to get bored with this game compared to some of the other walking simulators like Firewatch or Ethan Carter or whatever. So I think like if somebody's like doesn't really like walking simulators or is on the fence about them, this would be the one to get. I would say. But also Outlast 2 came out Tuesday. It didn't have a preload, so I had to wait till the afternoon, but I played a lot of it, and so far this one seems quite a bit longer than the first one, because I'm only on the second chapter. There's 6, and I've put in at least 5 hours already, which is probably about the length of the first game. So yeah, that's been a very cool thing. But yeah, that's about it. Like, been playing a lot of Forza Horizon when my PC is actually working, aside from that, like I said before. But and of course Gran Turismo Sport, I'm still playing the beta and stuff. But that's about it for me. What have you been playing?
For me, it's been trying to knock out a little bit of my backlog while simultaneously, of course, buying new games. Because, of course, mostly been focusing a lot on Nier Automata. And I've beat the first story. There's 3 characters you play as, so, you know, about halfway through the game now, I think. Without doing any of the extras and stuff like that. Also, played some Persona 5, chipping away at that. The problem I'm running into with that game is it seems so awesome, and I don't want to get too involved in the story just yet, because it's good, it's ramping up, but it's not fantastic yet, like Persona 4 was. Or you just hooked very early and fast. so I don't want to get too balls deep in that game before the story does get amazing, because I have no doubt in my mind that it will. I mean, that team is fantastic. Between Persona 3, Persona 4, Catherine, all just amazing games. Since Tuesday, a little bit of Dragon Quest Heroes 2 that came out. And, sadly, I beat Zelda.
Oh, wow.
So I will, from now on, probably not be talking about nearly as much Zelda as I have been for the last month and a half.
Yeah, damn.
So
did you find, like, how many hours you put in?
I didn't look too hard into the actual game. The game does give you a percentage of completion when you finish the game. And I have to, there's still like a built-in like timer that the Switch has for how much you play a game, but it goes in increments of 5 hours. So it says I played the game for 120 hours.
Damn.
I have to assume that maybe 20 to 30 hours are just dead time of me being in a pause menu or something like that while I'm away.
Yeah.
But
that's the issue with Steam's counting it. I mean, it's still better than nothing, but yeah, like, that is an issue. I wish they would, like, not count being in a pause menu as playing the game. But, oh well.
Yeah.
But it's there.
But I'm going to guesstimate I have at least 90 to 100 hours of actual playtime and exploring. And of the 120 shrines, I got them all. Of the 900 Korok seeds, I have about 160. I've done most of the side quests. I've gotten most of the armor. And upgraded at least, twice. And doing all the main story missions and quests, I'm at 36% completion. So that's daunting, but it was easily game of the year. I mean, I can't see what else could possibly be better. I just can't see anything being better this year.
Horizon's the only thing close in my eyes. I don't think anything else will come even close to Horizon, but we'll see. Yeah.
We have the possibility of Red Dead, but that's a toss-up.
Hell no.
I feel like it's going to get inflated by people who suck way too much Rockstar penis.
Dick, yeah, for sure.
But I have...
Same with the first one.
I love the first one. So I think if they have more of that, but less of Grand Theft Auto 5, then it'll be a great game. But even if it's more of the first, even better, it's still not better than Zelda. Come on.
I don't even think the first one holds a candle to Horizon. Like, it's just too lacking in so many gameplay areas that I just don't know how anyone could make that comparison. Also, as awesome as the story is in the first Red Dead, I think Horizon's is better, but that's probably an unpopular opinion, but I just really think that Red Dead is super overrated, and I don't expect 2 to be better, or to be, as good as people think. Like, I don't think it'll even be better than the first. I hope it is, but I'm expecting, because of their whole online direction with GTA 5, I'd be surprised if it ends up better than the first one.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's the toss-up. It could be a contender for Game of the Year, but it's not. There's Zelda's Game of the Year. There's no question about that.
Yeah, and there could be some surprise games coming out this year. I don't know what Sony's going to announce at E3, if they might actually surprise us for once and announce a game that's releasing in a few months instead of 5 years, but
March?
Probably not.
March has been one of the greatest gaming months ever. Between Horizon being the last day of February, Zelda, days after. Nier is actually a really, really great game coming out. Persona coming out at the beginning of April. I mean, that just month-ish span of time around March has been... It's been ridiculous. I can't believe this kind of beginning of the year to gaming. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. But then again, when you have one of the greatest games honestly one of the greatest games to ever come out in Zelda. It's hard to, of course it's going to be put on a pedestal. The month of gaming around it.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to admit it. It's Zelda Breath of the Wild is truly one of the greatest games I've ever played. I wish I could go back in time and unplay it so I could play it again for the first time.
Oh, there's so many games I wish I could do that with.
There's not many games that I truly wish I can do that. There's plenty that I'm like, when I finish them, I'm like, okay, that was an amazing game. I'm so happy I played that. With this, I'm sad that it ended, and I wanted to not ever play it, so I could play it for the first time. And I'm just really excited for the DLC.
I mean, that could be a future topic, games that we would, like, go back in time and replay, or just, like, erase our memory and replay, or in games that we wouldn't. Because there are actually games that I wouldn't do that, because I feel like the time that I played them, I probably wouldn't enjoy them as much as I would today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could do that for a topic at some point. But, oh yeah, we haven't done our news story yet. News story is next month for PlayStation Plus. Abzu and Tales from the Borderlands are free on PS4. There's obviously 4 other games that are also free. But I'm just like, I don't know anything about them, so we're just going to stick to the ones we know. And I absolutely loved Abzu. I played that. That's another one I played at midnight when it came out, with the preload and everything. Also, Tales of the Borderlands, I mean, you've said it's great. So I think it's a good month. Of course, there's always going to be some idiots complaining, closed-minded douchebags, but the funny thing is Europe is actually getting a different game. Instead of Abzu, they're getting Alienation, which is another game I played at midnight with the preload, but I actually prefer Abzu, to be honest, and I really like Alienation, but I just think Abzu's a more memorable experience and just something more unique, while Alienation is like just an awesome, like, more perfected, better version of Dead Nation, and just that kind of top-down shooter. I also think it's better than Helldivers, but I don't know. I just like Abzu better, and I purposely, even though they're not even comparable, I purposely just said that in the comments just to tick off a few people, because I knew there's some people, like, they see something like Abzu, they're just like, oh, that shit sucks. Journey was horrible, this and that, and but then they're the type of people that love something like Alienation. So yeah, I went out of my way to kind of troll them with that by saying Abzu is superior, Alienation is great, but not nearly as good. So we lucked out, and I hope that caused a frenzy on there. I didn't actually go back and look, but I know one person it pissed off at least. But
someone's always pissed off. It's okay.
Yeah, I kind of targeted him on this one though, because I knew it would get under his skin. But other news story is Prey, which really looks really good to me. They just released a free demo today. I haven't played it yet, but they're not sending out early review copies, which apparently they did for Doom, Dishonored, and Fallout maybe? I'm not sure, but I think it's fine, because I really think that, like, we mentioned on our 2 podcasts ago, reviews are insanely flawed. They're really not that representative of a game, so I think, especially in this case, Prey seems like more of a gameplay-focused game than story, although hopefully it's both. So, like, in this case, I think it's much better to have a demo than to have a review. And there are certainly games where I'd say it's the opposite, but this is one where I think it works out for everybody. And I don't think they would put out a demo like this unless they were confident in the game. So I really don't think them holding off the review has anything to do with the quality of the game. But
yeah, no. I'm not entirely sure what you said. You might have gotten it backwards, but Doom, Dishonored, Skyrim Special Edition did not get early review copies sent out. People just bought them on the day they released.
Yeah.
Our reviewers had them on the same day as everyone else, so there was no preview or anything like that of the final product. And yeah, I echo your sentiments and feelings. Demos, even though we've discussed demos and stuff like that before and how they're not quite as important as they used to be, it's still better than reading someone else's opinion about a game. At least with a demo,
Usually.
you can form a somewhat decent opinion on your own. And yeah, I'm also downloaded. I haven't gotten a chance to play it just yet, but I want to and will at some point in the next couple of days, because I'm still on the fence about the game.
Like, I'd actually say, though, the opposite, that maybe like a demo for something like What Remains of Edith Finch, Journey, Heavy Rain, a bunch of other games. I mean, even The Last of Us to a certain extent, because they did put out a demo for that, and I thought that was not very representative of the game. I feel like there's plenty of cases where a review would be better than a demo, just because it's like sometimes games are a package deal and it's really just a full experience. Firewatch, I'd say, too, where if you just play a slice of it, you're not going to have any clue what makes the game great. Like, it's especially story-based games. You really kind of... It's much better to have a review, I'd say, than a demo. But there are plenty of cases where it's the opposite. Doom's a perfect example.
Yeah, and I mean, I have harped for the longest time that Ni no Kuni had a demo, and it was awful.
Yeah,
because they tossed you into a boss fight without you have really any knowledge of the game, and just say, here you go, figure out all our not super complicated, but still complicated JRPG combat systems on your own on a boss that'll kill you in a couple hits if you don't do exactly what you're supposed to do. And
yep,
that was terrible. It was a truly awful demo, and it probably turned off a lot of people to the game when the game was
like me,
a treasure. It was a treasure of a game. And yeah, have you played it yet?
Nope. That demo legit turned me off of the game. Although I did go back later and replay the demo, and I actually managed to make it the whole way through. But yeah, I just it definitely turned me off of the game, because it was on sale at the time too, and it was only like $7, and I was gonna get it, and then there's a demo, I'll try it, and then the demo kind of killed it.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, and actually it took me an extra 2 years to play Heavy Rain, because that game does have a demo, and I played it.
That demo was bad.
Yeah, it was terrible, because there was motion control with the 6-axis or something like that, and you were just squeezing through I don't even exactly remember the contents of the demo. Oh, that
wasn't... that wasn't... I don't remember it needing the motion controls, but, actually, there was one part where you had to get up, a slippery slope, and it was you had to do the usual way Heavy Rain does it, but if you're not used to the way Heavy Rain likes to do things, you're just going to struggle over and over again. But that wasn't even my problem. I mean, my main problem it's just it's such a small slice of what the overall picture is, that it's just how can you get an idea of what this game is even about? It made it seem more like the game is about investigation than the actual heavy, it's all about the story for me. So it's kind of just taking a slice of gameplay like that is a terrible idea, in my opinion. But, no, I mean, the game's fantastic, but yeah, that did not lend itself to a demo at all. Yeah, our topic this week is actually piracy and hacking. And it's definitely something that goes on more on the PC side of things, but it also has gone on consoles as well, especially handhelds, thinking of the PSP. And, a ton of people actually hacked the PSP, play emulated games and stuff like that, and also to steal games and not have to pay for them. And that was a huge reason why the Vita got proprietary memory cards, which kind of makes me dislike hackers, because it's we ended, all the people that actually pay for their games and want to be connected to the PlayStation Network without worrying about getting banned or not being able to use the store or whatever. It's pretty annoying for us to have to spend $100 on a 64 gigabyte card instead of 20. And it's all because I just think it's kind of ridiculous, the whole mentality that hackers have that, oh, because they bought a device, they can do whatever they want with it. And it's just not how, like, it's software. Software is like you're being licensed it, you're agreeing to terms and conditions, and then going and so basically you're not supposed to do whatever you want with it at that point. If you don't want to agree to the terms and conditions and just play the thing offline all the time, that's another thing. But, well, even then, like, you're still pirating they can still pirate games that way. I just think it's wrong. I think it's pretty obvious to most people that piracy is wrong, but I also think that hacking in the way that they do it, unless they're really, being innocent with it, not stealing games that cost money, but that nobody does that. Everybody who hacks their PSP, or some people hack Vita, but it's such a tiny amount that it's like funny hearing some people say that, because the reason I thought of this is because Vita came out with an update recently, and usual system stability, stuff like that. And in the comments, you hear people whining, saying, why is Sony even trying to fight hackers? Like, you're gonna lose this battle anyways. No. There's like maybe 0.5% people hacking the Vita compared to the PSP, where it was like, I don't know, probably 30% or maybe 50% like of the PSP sold were used for hacking. So it's like they've already won the battle. It's over. And it's like, it's kind of ridiculous for them to even feel that sense of entitlement where you're doing something wrong here and you're complaining about the company trying to stop you. It's like, if you want to hack something, you should expect that to happen, not whine about it when it comes through. And you know what I mean? Like, so that's what made me think about it. But there's a lot deeper issues with piracy besides just that. I don't know. What do you think about the whole thing?
Well, with hacking specifically, now this is going to sound a little hypocritical, but bear with me here. 99% of the time, I'm very much against hacking.
Mm-hmm.
It like you perfectly said, it doesn't really hurt anyone except for the normal consumer who doesn't hack, because hackers are still going to hack.
Mm-hmm.
Sony is going to go out of their way to prevent hacking, and then we're the ones who have to deal with the consequences.
Mm-hmm. Specifically with the memory cards, though, because I'd say the software updates they don't bother us, but the memory cards really screwed us and screwed Sony, because, I mean, I don't think it's like the biggest reason that the Vita didn't sell well, but it's definitely one of them.
It's probably not really anywhere close to as big of a reason as most people think, because the PSP also had proprietary memory, and it also...
No, it didn't, but they were expensive. Memory sticks, those aren't proprietary. You could actually use them in... actually, for a little bit, digital cameras used them mostly until SD cards came around, but they were around the same price as the proprietary memory cards, as far as like how many games you could fit on them.
Well, okay. I actually didn't know that. I barely did anything like that, but still they were pretty expensive. And the big thing with PSP, though, was it only sold as well as it did because it was so hackable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people turned it into a handheld emulator to play any, Super Nintendo games and N64 games and whatever else. And arguably, that's why the PSP was as successful as it was. And it created this false sense of success for Sony, which they assumed would transfer to the Vita, but I mean, we could do a topic about Vita some other day. There's a million things going against it, but the fact that it was so anti-hacking ultimately hurt it, because why would someone spend $200 on a new device when they could buy a used PSP for $50 to $100 and be able to play, not new Vita games, but every other game?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably why the 3D or the DS and the 3DS have sold as well as they have, because those are easily hacked as well. I mean, the DS also, is kind of a toy, and it's huge in Japan, and, it's a totally different story as well, but those are very easily hacked devices. I mean, the Switch was hacked within a couple weeks of it releasing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's too uncommon right now for hacking to be the reason why it's selling so well. It's selling so well because it's a pretty decent system, but when things are easily hacked, then, you know, they end up being more successful. And, unfortunately, the Vita was very anti-hack and is still, despite the fact that Sony doesn't even, support it anymore, except for a couple games here and there that are all third-party and mostly indie. They're still making sure that hackers don't do what they want with the system, at least not with the newest firmware and all that stuff. Obviously, you can use old firmware that just can't use the internet and stuff like that, but it has benefited us, but for the most part, it just is a huge detriment to all the normal consumers, and I can't stand it, especially even going beyond hacking systems to play other games, like hacking games with stuff like aim hacks and first-person shooters, and any kind of third-party program that helps you in games. I mean, I remember playing World of Warcraft, and it's not entirely the same, but there was still a huge issue with bots running third-party software to do things faster, like go underneath the ground to avoid everything in the world to get to stuff like mining nodes and resource gathering nodes, and make you lag like crazy in PvP and stuff like that. So you couldn't hit them, but they can hit you. Stuff like that. That all falls under the same umbrella, and that shit is just frustrating as well.
Oh yeah, especially because certain games, like especially older Call of Duty games, it just like flooded with that crap. And of course, Activision doesn't care. It's a little annoying, but like you play some of the older Call of Duties, like you almost can't even find a match without hackers in it, and it's ridiculous. And it's like it's kind of funny that there's even people that have fun doing that, because it's like if you have invincibility in a competitive shooter, how is that fun? You know what I mean? Like you might as well just play against bots at that point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is it fun to shoot? Like, the whole point of playing other people online is that there's actual competition there. Like, they're much better than bots for the most part, and like it's just much more satisfying. And hacking kind of takes that away. So I don't get why they do it, but it's kind of shitty that it's so overwhelming on some of the older Call of Duty games, because people like to pop them in every once in a while and just have a good time. And I think I played one of the older Call of Duties recently, and something weird happened, like with my stats or something, or like I got kicked out of the game and it said something about my stats, and I was like, what? And that's another annoying thing, is like there's sometimes all you have to do is just join a lobby with hackers, and it can be like it hacks your profile and stuff. Like it's annoying. I've never had anything too bad happen to me, but I've heard that there are people that can like reset your stats. And actually, like, I'm a bit hypocritical, because there's this guy on YouTube that he does like trolling videos. Well, over time, I don't know, he got bored of regular trolling and he decided to do hacking trolling, where he would like just literally do asshole-ish things to people and mess up their profiles and stuff. But also, like, he would be able to change his name at any time during the game, and so there were some funny things that he would do with that. But like, I always felt like this, like he took it too far. You know what I mean? Like, even though there were some funny reactions he would get, it's still like you're taking it a little too far if you're hacking other people's accounts, no matter what they say in anger. Like, I mean, he did attack some like people that like said homophobic stuff or racist stuff, and it's like, yeah, I get that, wanting to attack them, but at the same time, like, you kind of provoked them into that, and Like, you're not really teaching them a lesson by hacking their profile. I don't know. I think that's a deeper issue that you're not going to solve just by hacking their account. So it's like, that's one thing I kind of hated him for. But I'm a little hypocritical on the whole thing, but I think it's wrong either way. Like, even though I did get a lot of laughs out of him doing it to people.
Yeah, I mean, inherently, hacking is the internet's equivalent of Old West banditry, where, sometimes it was done for the right reasons, but usually it's not.
Yeah. Like, Anonymous, they sometimes will do stuff that's, like, righteous and good, but they also do some stuff that's totally bullshit, like the PSN hack.
Yeah.
Not cool at all. Like, and I think it's obvious. And I know some people that were responsible for that got caught, but they cost Sony almost $200 million and cost us a month of or it was more than a month of no PSN. And it's just bullshit. I'm glad that most people have actually forgot about that. Like, I almost never hear people even mention it. But a couple of years ago, that's all you heard, especially from Xbox fanboys. But even they don't mention it that much anymore. So it's like good thing that's like in the past now. But still, it's amazing that even happened. It's like, how could, like, I just don't know why they think that was justified. Especially because I heard it was over something really stupid too. But I'm not entirely educated on the details. But
if I remember correctly, it was over hacking. How some guy exposed a means of hacking the PS3, and Sony tried to sue him, and then Anonymous hacked the PSN.
Yep. Yeah, to me, that's such a stupid idea, it's a stupid thing, because I think what it wasn't just that he hacked it, it was that he was going out of his way to show people how to do it. And obviously Sony's going to be, like, not going to be cool with that. Like, if you're publishing, ways to do that, and it's, like, on your own blog or whatever, so they can easily find who you are, you're just an idiot. And I think the kid got what he deserved, although I don't know if they actually went through with the case after the whole hack thing, but it's like, for Anonymous to stand up for the kid who did that, it's like, he's the one who, he's an idiot if he's really trying to publish it that way. Like, make it that blatant and try to get that information out to so many people. It's like, no shit Sony's gonna sue him if they find out who he is. Like, I mean, you gotta be kidding me. So I don't understand what the outrage was there, but yeah, like, another thing, which actually isn't hacking at all, but it was, and it's luckily gone away over time, but when the new consoles first came out, we had the whole DDoSing bullshit, and where those assholes named Lizard Squad took down PSN and Xbox over Christmas. I think it was like 2 years in a row. And like, that's not even hacking. I guess that's like, as far as it's kind of like a noobish thing as far as hacking goes. Like, they call them script kiddies, but yeah, basically they're just flooding the servers with requests. They're not actually hacking anything or breaking any security. They're just sending a bunch of requests at the service so that no other requests can get through, like actual players. And it's something that can happen to anyone, really. And I mean, it's good that it hasn't been happening lately, but yeah, that's another thing that's incredibly stupid.
Yep, it's really just, I don't understand what kind of immature little piece of shit thinks that's funny or fun.
Yeah, I also it was annoying when people like would say, "Oh, Sony charges for PSN and their network is still terrible, this and that," and it's like, dude, Xbox went down too. DDoS attack, there's nothing you can do about that. Maybe they learned how to do something about it, because we haven't seen it since, really. But if they really get their stuff together, there's nothing you can really do, unless you're like fully prepared for it. But most people wouldn't be, because it's just not something that normally happens. Like, it's like, you got to be a real asshole to do something like that, and it's like, or you just got to have a real target on you in order for something like that to happen. So it's like, most companies are just not going to be prepared for that. Even Microsoft with their supposed 300,000 Xbox servers, this and that, even they got taken down.
And Blizzard and Konami and Nintendo, and 2 years ago everyone was fucking DDoSed, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. But spoiler alert.
But that means that Sony's wasting the money that they're charging for PS Plus, though.
Yeah,
that's what that means.
Spoiler alert: your PS Plus does not go towards only games. So if you want to complain about the games, that's fine, but don't complain about the fact that there are almost no server interruptions ever, anytime, even though there were barely any ever since PS4 released, except for the massive DDoS attacks and stuff like that.
I mean, that's what's funny is like you put a percentage, even in the early days, it's like it was probably like 0.001% of the time PSN was actually down. But of course people still bitch, anytime it's down, they're like, oh, I wanted to play this and that Call of Duty Online or whatever. It's like Sony's ripping me off, and it's like, oh, wait an hour, then you can play. And it's like, no, they're just mad about that 1 hour that they can't play. But I mean, it's typical of gamers. Gaming has a pretty toxic community of just entitled douchebags. And I think, back to the original thing with hacking the Vita, that's the perfect example of people like being upset that Sony would try to make it harder for hackers to hack the Vita. It's like, are you serious? Like, you're the one doing something wrong here, not Sony. Like, and it's like, if you hack, I mean, you should kind of expect to not be able to go online with the thing if it's hacked. Like, it's a risk anyways, even if you can. But if they put out an update, like, dude, you're the one who made the choice to hack it. Like, just deal with it. Like, you made your bed, lay in it. But I guess another issue, which is, I mean, really bigger on PC, is piracy. And there have been some statistics about piracy, like some of the publishers have released, that were kind of shocking. Like, I think it was actually Jonathan Blow might have said something about The Witness being like 80% pirated, something like that. Or there was some crazy numbers out there from somebody. I might be getting it wrong, but yeah, piracy is a huge thing on PC. I mean, there's not only Pirate Bay, but there's also like other websites that do it specifically, and they just crack the games. They make their own versions of the installers so that people can just download their shit and install it. And I mean, you can't play online 99% of the time, except for much older games, but it's still like, it is a way to get games. And it's a shame that, like, especially considering the prices on Steam sales and websites like G2A, which is like, I rarely ever pay more than $10 for a game on there, no matter what. Like, games are cheap on PC most of the time, so it's kind of shitty that people are doing so much piracy on PC, but it happens. And yeah, it sucks. It just takes money out of developers' pockets, but I don't know. It probably doesn't take that much money away from their pockets than rentals do either. So there's more of it though, so it definitely does. But as far as per game, like, I don't know, because developers don't make anything off rentals either, and that shit still goes on. So industry won't be sustainable if like it went rampant, but luckily for the most part it hasn't, because I think one of the bigger incentives for people to actually buy a game is to be able to play multiplayer online stuff and DLC. Although actually pirated games do sometimes do updates so that it'll include the DLC too. So yeah, but it's got a bigger community on PC than consoles, but like we mentioned earlier with PSP and Vita, it does exist on consoles as well.
Yeah, and thankfully, piracy and hacking kind of go hand in hand. If you generally have, I'm talking in very large generalities now, but if you have the ability to hack a game or a system, you probably have the ability to pirate games and put them on that system. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
it it's it's one of the reasons that I prefer and enjoy console gaming, because that's not something that I have to worry about. Because when you pirate a game, one, you're, like you said, taking money out of developers' hands.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to do that, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't buy used. You should just buy the game. Wait a month, wait a couple months, wait a year. Every Sony game ends up being $20 after 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that option. It is a problem. It's why I don't game on PC, because it's just, I love supporting developers. Some I don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't really want to support Activision or EA.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's a different story. I'll buy used because unfortunately they make enough money where my dollar doesn't count. Doesn't really mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
But for, other publishers, Square Enix, I have just about always loved everything that they do. So I'll support them all the time.
Oh. Except for Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider was fine. I enjoyed it.
Well, no, I mean, like, the whole exclusivity thing. I thought that was bullshit,
yeah.
which is why I bought the game used. But
yeah, if you can disagree with that, but I mean that's a lot of things. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. That's another topic, but
yeah,
exclusivity deals and stuff like that. But for the most part, the games they put out are really high quality, and I enjoy them all. Dragon Quest Heroes, I loved, so there was no doubt in my mind I was going to pre-order Dragon Quest Heroes 2, and I did. And I tend to buy digitally, so I'm not even tempted to sell games, so someone else cannot support them. I mean, it's thanks to people like me who bought Dragon Quest Heroes 1 that we even got a sequel of a fairly niche in the West RPG mixed with a Dynasty Warriors game. It's incredible to me that it even got a sequel in the West, but I'm happy it did. It's so far a great game, and I will happily support them all day long. Just about anything Sony puts out first party that I want to play, absolutely. Just about anything Naughty Dog does, absolutely. Guerrilla, absolutely. Even indie developers. Cosmic Star Heroine looked fantastic, so I pre-ordered that. I haven't gotten around to playing it, but I sure wanted to play it. Bethesda, I'm a little, hot and cold on. It depends on the game. But yeah, I enjoy supporting these people. I enjoy giving them my money. I mean, I didn't take up flying kites. I didn't take up reading. I didn't take up painting. These are, I don't know what other cheap hobbies you can do. Gaming is an expensive hobby, and you should be. If you're paying $400,
it can be pretty cheap. If you wanted to.
I mean, yeah, if you wait a little while, then it'll be cheaper. The longer you wait, the cheaper to get it.
Oh, yeah.
But if you want to play games when they're current, and you not even want to be at like the forefront of technology, I don't have a 4K TV. I don't have a PS4 Pro. I have a regular 1080 HD TV with a regular PS4, and that is fine with me. But I also have no problems that I spent $1,000 on the TV, however many years ago it was, whenever Ni no Kuni came out. I have no problems spending $400 on a PS4 when it came out. I had no problem spending $300 on the Switch when it came out. I liked what I saw about the Switch, so of course I wanted to support it. I loved what I saw about Zelda, so of course I spent $100 and something on the collector's edition of that. It kind of bothers me when people just say, fuck all that, and they pirate these games. I mean,
yeah.
It's angering and kind of upsetting because people are taking the easy way out, and it doesn't really benefit anyone. It benefits the individual, but it hurts me as someone who paid money. It hurts Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft or, Naughty Dog or Gorilla or whoever, pick a developer, publisher, or game manufacturer or hardware manufacturer, and piracy hurts them and it hurts their customer base. And it's selfish. And of course you have shitty people on the internet that will take advantage of people like that, and you always run the risk of downloading terrible viruses to your computer when you decide to pirate games from a, peer sharing website or client or something like that. So there's that risk as well.
That actually, as far as I know, that doesn't happen as much, but the sites that do pirate games, they have ads, and they are not very selective with their ads, and you can definitely get adware, malware, and viruses from the actual ads just from visiting the site. But the actual games usually are clean.
I came from the age of Napster, so I trust nothing that gets downloaded from anything like that.
In the past, yeah, definitely, but I think they realized that no one's going to go to their site if they're caught putting viruses inside of their games that they're letting people download. So it's because there are alternatives. It's not like there's just one site that makes pirated games that, if they put viruses and get caught doing that, everyone's going to go to the other site. And so basically it's their bottom line. But the ads, they can kind of pretend we didn't know this and that, which is bullshit, because it's you should know, and they probably do know, and they should be very careful about that, because it doesn't taking the money like that and just turning a blind eye to douchebag advertisers is why people use AdBlock. They like to put out these messages, just on any site. There's a lot of sites where you even I forget, I think it might have been Forbes or something. .com, they put out messages. We notice you're using AdBlock, blah blah blah. That makes it impossible for us to, keep our business this website going. And it's if people didn't put shitty ads that not only pop up when they're supposed to be, the pop-ups are supposed to be blocked, but they found some loophole around it, or having videos that pop on the screen and cover the entire screen, which PlayStation Lifestyle actually does sometimes. Usually you can close out of them quickly, but some websites you can't. So it's if they weren't douchebags with the way they were doing their advertising, the people wouldn't use AdBlock. And these pirated game douchebags are one of the examples of that. It's just you can't expect people to just blindly accept adware into their computer. Or the worst is pop-ups that will pop up behind your browser so you don't even know they're there. And it's I know they're there because I'm used to it, but it's because I'll have to close out of them instantly right away just to avoid anything. But because I watch a lot of sports and stuff, UFC, F1 on websites that do this sort of stuff and have shitty ads. But it's that's why AdBlock exists. But they're even finding ways around that and stuff. And it's you're more likely to get a virus nowadays from an ad than an actual download, I think, for the most part. Unless you're downloading porn, which I bet there's probably a lot more viruses in porn, because
why the fuck would you?
It's porn.
How would you download porn when you can go to a million websites? And
I don't know. Yeah.
Not that I would know that. Sorry, honey.
I mean, probably. I don't know if there's because it is porn websites are low quality usually, but so. Maybe some, I don't know, but I gotta assume there's still gotta be some viruses out there for porn, because porn was the originator of the download virus, I think, because that's the thing that probably the most downloaded thing, or used to be, on the internet. So yeah,
I'm sure it still is.
Probably, it's a huge industry. Well, not anymore, but it used to be. Internet killed a bunch of different industries, like movies, TV. Well, not TV, music, I mean, and porn, they've kind of got shut down just because it's so easy to access that stuff for free. Music, too, so it's yeah. It's kind of funny the way the internet has kind of given birth to so many different industries and, made so many people rich, but then also made so many people poor at the same time, but...
That's
I don't know.
That's the definition of technology. Just like the TV killed the radio, and the internet is killing newspapers, and cars killed horse-drawn wagons, carriages.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, newspapers are kind of killing themselves too a little bit by being so partisan. It's people are onto all that shit, fake news and whatnot. But I don't know. You want to wrap it up?
Sure. Hacking and piracy is bad. Don't do it.
Very bad. Don't do it, or we'll be stuck with proprietary memory cards if they ever make a Vita again. And if that happens, I'm gonna punch a hacker. But that's it for us. Thanks for listening. See you next time.